How's it, guys? It's Rollins here. Just a quick video for the MACD that's on our iPhones. A lot of guys are asking me to explain how this MACD works. So if you guys can see these histogram, which are the gray lines, and then this red, which is, let's say the MACD signal, or let's call it a moving average. So there are other MACDs on TradingView and other applications, but a simple formula, which is the MACD, which is 12, 26, and 9. Based on the MACD, I will just show you just a few easy steps on making decisions. So there are formulas as to how this histogram are formed. It's the moving averages and stuff and what have you, but let's not get into that and worry about how they formed. Let's just worry about how this affects us in our trade. So I'm on a 1 minute time frame. I'm looking at the MACD, and we're looking at the NASDAQ 100 chart. Okay, so basically this here where the pointer is a zero line. So this is a zero line, and anything above the zero line is bullish. Anything below the zero line is bearish. So above this line here, which is the zero written here, is all buying, and all below the zero is all selling power. So what we have is that when this MACD line here, this histogram line, is very small, it's in line with the candle, which means it's equivalent to this candle. Okay, it doesn't matter the candle is green candle or red candle, bullish or bearish, but if this is on the upside, then this is a buying power. So right here, we can look at the histogram. This is a very high buying power. This histogram right here is a low buying power. If you look at this histogram, it's a very high selling power. And this histogram here is a very low selling power. So when it is below the zero mark, then the sellers are in control. When it's above the buying, above the zero mark, the buyers are in control. So that's what we need to understand as the first step. The second step is you look at this red line here, which is, let's call it the signal line, or let's call it the MACD line. You can even call it the moving average for all I care. So when this MACD line is in the histogram, there is great strength in the histogram. So here, if you see the MACD line is in the buying histogram, there is a great strength here, so the histograms are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. On this particular one, the histogram is within the red line, which means the red line is in the histogram, so there is great strength in the selling power. But when the red line leaves this histogram, and this is what you need to see, it leaves the histogram, then the histogram starts getting weak, and then the selling power in this case is weak. When the histogram gets up here, then the buying power gets very strong. When the histogram leaves, when the red line leaves this histogram, the histogram gets weak. So when the red is not in the histogram, it is weak. When the red is in the histogram, it is strong. So let's just do this again, and let's go back to another time frame. For example, let's look at this compared to the chart itself now. Okay, so here we have the histograms all in a downtrend or all in a seller zone. The red signal line is in the histograms, which is very strong selling power. Although it's up here, you see that it went up and then it came down. This is just to tell you that the trend is going up for the last 6 or 7 candles, but the buyers are in control. So as this was happening, if you look at from here to here, is where all this is the sellers were in control. From here to here, the sellers were in control. From here to here, the sellers were in control. And from this point to this point, the buyers were in control. And from this point to this point, although the buyers were in control, but the sellers were actually losing power. That's what it means here. Therefore, the signal line left the histogram, it's out into the air. And then when the sellers gain power and gain control, this is exactly what they've done. Okay, so the sellers were in control in this region. Therefore, the red signal line is in the histograms, and the histogram is quite big. So the sellers had great selling power right to this point. And when it came to this point, you see here, the buyers were in control right to the top. So here, the sellers started losing selling power, and it started going up to the zero line. And during that time, you see the red signal line actually left the histogram. It was away from the histogram. When it arrived here, it went into the histogram, which means right here, the buyers took control, and the buyers started rising up, and then the histograms here started getting stronger and stronger until the sellers gained power, and the sellers here, you see, the histogram started losing its strength, and then the red signal line left the histograms and started going out of the histogram. So that's simple to understand, guys. If you do not know, please give me a message on WhatsApp and we will discuss further from there. Thank you, guys.